Oh, hi everyone. I wanted to do a quick, I don't know, like a quick overview of what I've been doing on League Start since it's you know, coming up. Oh, it's day 2 right now. About 12 hours, so it'll be coming up on day 3, and but I'm probably gonna be making my gemling switch pretty soon. I want to do a quarterstaff flicker strike build is quality scaling because of the more damage multiplier. But that's a whole other thing. I wanted to do a little video on the start that I've been doing. So currently I am a um, witch hunter, uh, and I'm using a crossbow and using the explosive kind of skills. So explosive grenade, explosive shot, oil grenade, mortar cannon, photovoltaic grenade, just because, just a mixture, lighting cool stuff in there. I want to do a video on it because I released I did a post on Reddit, of me basically cluster bombing a boss down. And, I don't know. Maybe somebody's out there looking for a neat little build to try. This is definitely not something that I'm completed, and something that I probably will not complete just because I plan on doing something else. But it's a good it's a good leveling thing, that's for sure. Very low effort. You basically just run around and throw grenades and shoot them, and clusters of them go off. So a little showcase of that here. So for my main skill, explosive shot, I have multi-shot in it, so extra projectiles, and then just generic damage things. Whatever works for you. I got a pretty good crossbow at some point, so I slotted in some different things. To start, it was generally just multi-shot and elemental armament, and it was still doing a good amount of damage. And then of course there's an explosive grenade, which is right now shooting 5. That's multi-shot support, as well as the crossbow that I have. So the cannonade crossbow and the grenadier crossbow gives additional grenades. Very good. And then on the passive tree there is a node here. Where is it? Here. Grenade skills, fire, additional projectile. So, it's standard projectile shenanigans. When you have area of effects and they start to overlap with each other, the damage starts to stack up and multiply. So try to get them as close together as possible, and then all of that damage is reflected here on the per damage use. So you get about 5 times that going out at one time. So shoot this out, your explosive, shoot everything off. Now, visually speaking, it's a bit of a mess, but I personally like it. And of course, if you shoot out the oil grenade and then detonate that, usually when you hit things with explosive shot, it'll ignite them, and then the ignite will pass through to all of the oil and then light the screen on fire as well. Good thing about oil is that it lowers their elemental resistance. It's generic elemental resistance now since 0.3 patch. So if you have any sort of additive attack damage on your crossbow or your rings or your gloves or anything like that, it'll all be counted for that. It's pretty nice if you're struggling a bit or need some more damage for something. Nowadays I don't really need it, but it's an option. But it's basically bread and butter right there. Explosive grenade, explosive shot. Now, you can, when I was just starting out, level 1 to I don't know when I got explosive shot. I'm actually gonna look at that right now. Let's go my stash real quick. Gems. Also, let's see, explosive shot at level 7, which requires level. That's the wrong gem. 7 gem. Oh, look at an 8 gem. So I have the 7 right there. There it is. A little 7 gem. So that is level 22. So somewhere in Act 2 is when you get explosive shot. And you can start comboing them. Before that, I kind of just used explosive grenade just by itself, and it's okay. It's definitely better when paired with a detonator skill of some sort, but I mean by itself it's alright. Generally just because, you know, you can shoot it in front of you and then run, and the mobs chasing you'll come over, and if your fuse time is long enough, they'll just run into it and explode. But of course that's, you know, something you'll probably have to figure out if you want to do or not yourself. But reloading. Somewhere in Act 2, you'll get explosive shot, and you can actually do a combo and explode them together, which is really nice. So it's just generic passive tree, just like projectile damage. Got some area of effect here. Cooldown. I picked up some defense. When I started getting into like the, you know, end of Act 4. These are just generic two-handed weapons. They work with the crossbow, so that's all good. You get on here, you want to get this whole wheel, basically. Or at least I did. I could probably unspec the cooldown recovery, because I have four uses of explosive grenade, and I never end up using all of them. So I could probably lose some points here and there, but this one, like, amazing. And of course the grenade skill set +1 cooldown use, also very good. After that, I mean, pick up some more defense. I picked up more defense. I also, before that though, I believe I picked up this wheel and came straight down here to go over to this. So I did this is the crossbow node, like all the ones have, like, there's like a spear one over there. So crossbow node, grenades have a chance to activate a second time. That's when you start to get nutty things happening. So the good thing about having a long fuse time, so explosive grenade, you go over to the grenade portion. Fuse duration, I have mine at 4.5 seconds. And that seems like a long time. However, it allows you to stack them. And every time that additional detonation procs, it's for the volley of grenades that you shot out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you get additional things in there, which is very nice when you're bossing. So the reason, I'll say the reason I went Witch Hunter specifically is for the Culling strike node here, which it's not really useful against like bosses, but with this build and the amount of grenade projectiles you're throwing out, your boss damage is going to be so insane anyways, it's not going to matter. So it's just generic like Culling strike for I guess clearing. Clearing is good, and then you go over here to get increased area effect, and you get this one, so the chance to explode. Zealous Inquisition, it's very nice. It's only a 10% chance, but the amount of undead and demons that you fight in the game is actually pretty crazy. So this will feed into the explosive nature of it. That, and of course you have Herald of Ash, which you can use on a crossbow. And with the Culling strike node that you have here, and the Zealous Inquisition here, and the Herald of Ash, you'll be having like these aftershocks of explosions, almost like you're playing Warrior, except you're exploding the screen with grenades and explosive shot. It's very nice. So after I picked up Culling Strike, I went over here and I increased the threshold for 40% against rare unique enemies. So that also compounds with the this new cluster over here with additional Culling Strike. That's 5, 10, 15, and then this will make it 40%. So against rare and uniques, you have a total increase of 80% threshold, which for rares pushes it up to about, I think it's like 18%, so almost 20%, and then yeah, it's negligible for uniques, but the great thing is that your base Culling Strike against normal enemies is 30%, and against magic it's 20%, so that 40% increase that you get from here will take it up to about 40, I think it's like 40, 42%, something like that. Which, I mean, it's about half their health. I didn't try Decimating Strike. I wanted to, but I just, Zealous Inquisition has been doing so well, I just didn't feel like changing it. Decimating Strike also could work. I don't necessarily know. It's weird because it's between 5 and 30%, and it's before the hit is applied. So, by some, like, miracle, I guess you could start one-shotting things, maybe? The only thing is, like, because of the way that it works, this is before the strike, and then this is also calculated before the strike, so it's weird. You still have to end up hitting them twice, but that doesn't matter when you're shooting multiple projectiles, because the projectile itself has a hit, and then the explosion has a hit too, like when it goes off. So you end up getting like 2 effects anyways, so it's not going to matter that much. And that's something I haven't tested or anything like that, so you might want to test that for yourself at some point. I love that. Yeah, that's basically it. I went up here and I got these like additional projectile while moving, and then movement speed penalties. So you move around pretty quickly. I also got this one where you ignore movement penalty from armor, because I myself went armor base. As you see from my character, I have, 69% physical damage reduction against whatever hit they calculated with. I don't even know what it is. But I decided to forgo evasion, even though they did buff it. Just because, like, I only wanted to use the character for, like, leveling up and, like, low-tier mapping, and I really only felt that I would get the most out of evasion and deflect when I started pumping, like, a lot into it, and I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to enjoy the grenade. So I just picked armor up. It scaled pretty well. Gear is pretty easy. You just kind of pick up whatever, and then I also picked up iron reflexes, so that it didn't matter what base type I got. So I could use evasion bases, I could use armor evasion, I could just use flat armor. It didn't really matter. Just made it a little easier on the leveling aspect, so I'm not restricted to too much. Yeah, but like I said, I'm gonna probably end up switching off of this in a little bit. So a little demo here. Pull up a map. It's like I was in tier 5, so let's do tier 5. That doesn't really matter. I'll do that elemental one. Oop, I went in the map by accident. That's the dice. Alright. Oh, perfect. Let's do an Abyss. This is another reason I chose this skill specifically, because it's Abyss League. And you'll basically see why in a little bit. Let's pull this up and get to going.
It's like that campaign 5 years back.
Do I have my stuff enabled? I think I do. Yeah, I do. Good. So the playstyle is pretty simple. So when you get enough damage, you can forgo the whole like, you know, grenade first and just use explosive shot. But you need a pretty solid crossbow to doing that. Oh, hello. Yeah. So that's essentially what happens to any unique enemies or rares or anything like that. You just throw out a few volleys or grenades, detonate them, and they just explode. Then, you know, your culling trick does the rest. You gotta be very careful though. This because of the amount of explosions going off, it tends to lag things. Alright. Oh. A little bit of this. Sure, make us run faster. Walk up here. Just. That's what's making us. It's the real draw of this right here. It's those chain explosions you see. It's kind of like, you guys ever played RF from PoE1? You know, the Hinakura? Hinakura is the draw of that when you're mapping with those chain explodes. It's essentially the same thing between Herald of Fire and the, you know, just chaining from, the explodes from Inquisitor, Zealous Inquisition. Pretty nice. You just get these giant explosions going. You sometimes chugs at it. Look at this. You want like leech effects or like, you know, I run cannibalism, so I get, you know, health back on kill. Otherwise, just because of the nature of the it's rather defensive, you put explode my luck quite a bit there. But I mean, your best defense is stopping away from the enemies. Playing a range plus you don't have to actually really aim, you just shoot because everything's an AoE. Explosion shot doesn't actually have to hit the enemies, it just hit the ground and do enough damage to put them in culling range with the first 2 hits. Then the third hit will pull them and then do a the third hit will do a Herald of Fire proc, which is overkill damage, so as long as you have enough damage, it'll proliferate that. And it'll also do the 10% calculation, or 20% against the undead and demons, for the Zealous Inquisition one, which will propagate even further. Yeah, but that's basically it. You saw the Abyss that we're doing there, the large explosions that were happening. It makes it pretty easy. I just like to get in close sometimes because, you know, it's just my own thing. Things of note. I'll go in there and get all that stuff afterwards. Things of note. This counts as a hit. So for anybody wanting to like take this further than I will be doing, just some things. Since it's a hit and it does physical damage, it can poison and it can bleed. So if you're trying to go to like the exponential like propagation limits, then you can. I actually did do a little demo earlier. I took up the Erden's Tusks here, which gives you a 50% chance to inflict bleeding on hit. And I also put these in here, which is another crossbow, soul core of Apolati, which is a 15% chance per soul core. So I put 2 of them in there. So my base amount of bleed chance is 80% on hit, and it has to be generic hit. It can't be let's see, where's it? There's a couple bleed nodes that say like per on attack. And it can't be on attack because Zealous Inquisition is not an attack. It's all incision. See, like, chance of critical hits with attacks like that wouldn't work because it's not an attack. So that's first and foremost. Only the other thing is that there's very little ways to scale AoE, like generic AoE. And I don't even know if this is affected by generic AoE or not, but a lot of the AoE on the tree, on the bottom half of the tree, on the bottom left, it's all AoE for attacks. And again, it's not an attack, so it doesn't work with that. I didn't look at poisons or anything like that, but I'm sure there's some crazy things you can do. I mean, you got all these new support gems, so there's no reason you can't do something with like explosive shot to where like it procs poison or like propagates the poison somewhere. Even just like it's like Herald of Plague. Yeah, so Herald of Plague spreads the most damaging poison on enemies you kill in a 1.7 meter radius, right? So this is something that you can scale AoE. So assuming it works the same way as the bleed that I was testing, what's essentially is going to happen is you're going to shoot your explosive shot, or put your grenades down, whatever. You're going to kill the enemy. The enemy is going to pop a Herald of Fire, and then it'll do, if it procs a Zealous Inquisition, it'll do 10% of its max HP to everything around it. I think it's 4 meter radius. I think it's like a 4 meter radius. It'll 10% of that to the target. That damage, that physical damage that it does, will be calculated to use a bleed or poison. Specifically for the Herald, the Herald of Plague we're looking at, the poison will then spread to enemies within 1.7 meters of that. So that'll propagate around, and of course, Zealous Inquisition, it procs on kill. It's not on attack, it's on kill. So the poisons will probably propagate properly. Funny. And spread to the rest of the pack like that, and it might be a nice play style. I'm not gonna put all the effort into testing that and whatnot. It should be a pretty fun experience. But yeah, that's basically it. As for like ways to kind of like take this further, I only did this passive tree in mind for like taking it to like level 70-ish, which I think I am right now. I'm level 77. I assume you would probably want to split off into the more like projectile-y section, just to try to scale your explosive grenade more. What is that? Projectile tag. You could also take it over to the left-hand side, because in here, where it has a lot of fire nodes, like just over here, there's like fire and ignite, right? And then if you go further up, you start getting into more fiery things. like up here, and you could even go like Avatar of Fire, so all of your damage, or 75% of your damage, is converted into fire, instead of the, I think it's like 70%. Okay, so the projectile portion of explosive shot does 30%, but the explosion does 80%, and explosive grenade's already 80% anyway, so you probably don't need anything like that. But you could, if you wanted to mess around with it a little more. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little things that I could probably go into, but yeah, it's pretty easy. Even if you just like wanna copy my tree like one for one, I don't mind. But yeah, that is my crossbow explosive shot and explosive grenade build. Just one last time so you can see it.
Reloading.
How can you not like that? Yeah, and if you like this guide, I'll probably be doing another one on my Gemling Flicker. Although that one's pretty well. That one's also probably pretty easy. I have to do a few things to solve like charge generation and whatnot, but I'm sure that I'll look around and find a few things that'll be worth it. Yeah, that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed. And if you want to see more content from me, go ahead and like, subscribe, or you can check me out on Twitch. Everything's linked in my bio. Should be linked in the description too. Will be streaming quite a lot of PoE. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching.